More than 90% of the farms in the United States are classified as small, and most are family-owned and operated. We're visiting one such farm today in McEwen, Tennessee. Clean Jeans Farm specializes in salad greens year-round. Let's get to it. This is where it all begins. Tell us.
So as I like to say that I tried to be as efficient as I possibly can, and some of these tools that we use on this small farm are the most efficient tools that the market has provided. And one of them is a gravity seeder. And with the gravity seeder, I'm allowed now to seed a 200 cell lettuce tray in seconds. So I will show you that process. First, I fill it with a potting mixture, peat moss, vermiculite, just your standard potting mixture. And then I've made this fancy dibbler with, as some of you electricians might see, with some wire nuts. And it's got 200 wire nuts, perfectly aligned for our 200 cell tray.
Wow. Your breakfast tray has been turned into a cedar.
And now the holes have been dibbled. Today I'm going to show you some head lettuce. So besides our salad mixture, we also do head lettuce, romaine and green star. A nice summer crisp also, great for growing in the heat of the summer.
And you're calling this gravity seed?
Yes, it is. So there's 1,000 seeds on that. There's 200 holes aligned. And we're just going to shake. These are pelleted seeds, and they're about the size of BBs.
Reminds me of a child's game.
Yeah, it is.
That is really intriguing.
So we just shake the gravity seeder into all the pelleted lettuce is in a hole. And I just go directly over our already pre-dibbled holes in our tray and open it up.
And you just slid the tray over and they fell in.
Before I had the seeder, what used to take me 3 hours now takes me about 15 minutes to do about 16 trays. I would water this in deeply and then put it in our germination chamber that is set for 68 to 71 degrees temperature. And in a day and a half, the soil's been up to temperature, and I'll take them out and I'll put them under a light.
So these are the lettuces that you're working with now. You would take these and transplant these directly into the ground.
Correct.
And you're pleased with what percentage of germination?
I love 100 as anybody would, but if 75 to 100 is good.
It is late May. Jason, it's wonderful to be in this greenhouse with all of these stages of lettuce. Give me your edge on the market of how you're trying to grow this lettuce.
So growing lettuce in humid Tennessee weather is definitely, there's some tricks. It's all about varieties and limiting the amount of sun that comes in. And most times farmers are considered solar harvesters.
Yes.
And we're trying to limit that due to the fact that lettuce is a colder climate crop. And so I utilize shade cloth to limit the sun. I utilize the weed suppression mats to keep the soil cooler and suppress the weeds. We use our irrigation systems to cool down in the very hot summer, so 5-minute mist twice a day. And then we have drip lines running through the cloth also where we transplant to keep them watered, and we do that once a week, really deep watering. Yeah. And from there, having transplants.
What percent of blockage of the sun do you want from your shade cloth?
So we use 50%, but we're trying to figure out, is 30% better or is 50% better? But right now everything is 50%. So this is called landscape fabric, and we use a 4-foot by 100-foot piece of landscape fabric for our rows of lettuce.
And so these are very rhythmic holes. You do that with a certain machine?
So I have derived a wood jig that has about 50 holes in it, and I burn the holes. So I just continually follow the pattern, and that's my thing. Normally in larger agriculture, they have machines that would make the dibbles, and then 2 people or 1 person be on the back of that piece of equipment behind a tractor putting in the transplants and the water lines.
Necessity created this.
Yes, necessity and some hybrid information I found.
Right,
online.
okay. So you don't direct seed any of your lettuce. It's
No.
all transplanted.
Yeah, it's all transplanted. So the transplants we'll be dealing with today are around 2.5 to 3 weeks old.
Okay, now this first section, evidently, it's definitely been just transplanted, right?
Yeah, so I transplanted it actually this morning. I started, and in each line is 200 transplants. So in a perfect germination tray is 200 transplants.
And of course, this one over here is 2 weeks old? Or?
Yep, that's been transplanted. That's actually now going 5 weeks, but transplanted, yeah, about a week and a half ago.
Okay, so from seed to market is how many days?
Well, it's as the package says, 55, but we definitely are in that range.
Okay, and
from
I
seed to package.
see definite varieties over here. What are you choosing to produce in this summer?
So our favorite is Summer Crisp, and we definitely like stuff that's slow bolting, that can stay crisp. We definitely, have been experimenting with different varieties, and we find stuff that we like and some stuff we don't, because from seed to process, there's, in the bagging and getting ready for direct market, there's a lot of other steps that could damage the lettuce. So we try to litigate that as much as possible.
So it's your goal to have lettuce 365 days a year, 52 weeks, right?
Yeah, we try to have a base for a salad for our customers, our salad snobs.
We are about to step up from seed tapes to planting tapes. Now this is quite interesting. So you seeded these just like you did the other things, only they're in that tape.
So this is the paper pot system. So on a small scale that we have to utilize the space as best as possible. So I'm using a lot of transplants. The transplanting obviously allows me to grow it in the nursery.
Exactly.
Use the germination chambers so I know I can control the percentage of the watering, and then utilizing systems with my transplants for my lettuce or the paper pot, which the paper pot I've done everything from mixed kales to this is bunching onions to beets to carrots. Everything's got their own tricks.
Yeah, but you see, when you come here, it's ready to go. If you've seeded that's in here, you got to wait 3-4 weeks to see, did I get a good germination?
Yeah.
So right here, you're good to go.
Yeah, we're good to go. And so now, in 4 weeks to 5 weeks, we'll have bunching onions ready for market.
Wow. Well, let's talk about health benefits for what's so beautiful on this table.
Yeah, so these are all microgreens, and we use a couple different ones. We have radish over there, that's nice purple and green trays. For people that are unaware, radish has more vitamin C than oranges or strawberries.
I just read that. So the actual green tastes like the bulb of the radish.
Yes, it actually tastes like the root of the radish. This is our mild mix. It's a cabbage, kale, broccoli. And as you can see, we're waiting for the true leaf to emerge before harvest, which this tray will be ready to harvest in about a day. So we have a nice cabbage, broccoli, cabbage, kale mixture right here, as we call our mild mix, and tastes just like broccoli, cabbage, kale. And one of the great things, besides being very nutritious, you can add it into salads, sandwiches, smoothies.
It's just
an
so
array of
wonderful
greatness. Yes.
on that good turkey sandwich. Well, as of today, we're standing on different grounds than what you started with, say, 6 years ago?
So when we originally bought this place, nothing was farmed. And up to 3 years ago, 3.5, when we first put our first plants into the ground. But there's been a lot getting there. So previously, when I had my career and we decided we're going to start farming, I put down lots of tarps, silage tarps, plastic, and used the sun to solarize and kill all the Bermuda grass and any other weeds that were there.
Perennial,
The perennial weeds in the grasses. Once we took off the tarps, we then went and got soil samples, and I use a pretty good agronomist, well known from Vermont, and I was told with disheartening information that good luck on your soil, it's not going to grow anything. From there, I'm one that doesn't give up too easily. So lots of compost, reading lots of different books on prebiotics, probiotic, the mycology of the soil, and I was like, I'm going to create something I can and utilize all the microbes that I possibly can do on the farm itself. So this bed was spinach previously. And one of the things we kind of pride ourselves on is once the beds are formed, using a tiller, then we don't till anymore. We don't say we're completely no-till, because we do disturb the soil. We use broad forks to aerate, to bring oxygen, and people that know soil a little bit, oxygen's everywhere, nitrogen's in the air, and we can then slowly build up the soil just using the natural elements. So we aerate, we then use heavy compost, let the organic material from the previous succession go down and let the worms and microorganisms start eating that and creating more organic biology. Normally, like, we just do quick growing, short rooted product, lettuce for instance, but having tomatoes being actually looking beautiful in the soil that I was told a couple of years ago that weren't going to grow.
Absolutely.
So I feel good. I'm not patting myself tomorrow this could be gone, but I like it.
This didn't happen overnight.
No.
It took you several years to build up all of the microorganisms in your soil, and
so for us, like, we're always putting in prebiotics, probiotics, compost teas, lots of compost. And now that we have chickens on the farm, we're using chickens to break down wood chips and biochar and just other things for the regenerative sources that we are linking to put in our soil food web.
So you don't use any synthetic fertilizers?
No synthetic, no petrochemicals. As I heard I'm going to quote this, as I heard a great things like, don't ask if we spray, ask what we spray. Okay. And everybody sprays. We have neem oil, we spray probiotics, we spray prebiotics, compost teas. There's stuff we spray. But we're all spraying, everything that is going to build up this soil ecology as best as we possibly can. But there's always going to be a bug somewhere.
Okay, well, obviously you've done the right things at the right time, and I think I'm going to have a little conversation with Sarah.
Excellent. Because
she's going to fill us in on some of the things you are growing right now.
Excellent.
Sarah, I'm excited to hear about your plans for what you're growing in here, summer or fall, or tell me about what the flowers you've planted and your vegetables.
Yeah, so I started a cut flower garden last year, just trial and error to see what would stick. And so zinnias did fantastic.
Yeah.
Sunflowers, snapdragons, and then there's celosia was a great one for me, gomphrenia.
I love those.
And,
yes.
And this year I decided to try some new things like the violas, because they're edible too.
Right.
And those could go great on salads.
Of course, over here I can't help but say these must be white potatoes.
Yes, they are. Yeah, so this is our first year growing potatoes as well, and we kind of did something different. We wanted to suppress the weeds, and I've never grown potatoes in the landscape fabric.
Oh.
So we hilled them with straw because I saw it on YouTube,
yeah.
And we'll see if it works, but it's kind of a trial for us.
Well, and they do need to be able to grow down, so the berm type situation is what they look for better growing. Well, I see you have basil.
Yep.
And dill.
Yes.
And over here, green beans.
Exactly, yep.
I like looking at these beans blooming right here, Sarah.
Yes.
I see that purple bloom, and I recognize that as being a blue lake. Tell me about your concept. This is a two-person operation here.
It is.
No outsiders, just you and Jason. And give me your concept of this farm, and how about the name?
The name? Yeah, so the name came in the planning process. And a little backstory, Jason and I had been on a health journey for about 9 or 10 years and just tried different real food diets, like we did some juicing and raw foods. And so anyways, along the way, I read a book called Dirty Genes by Dr. Ben Lynch. In the book, he discusses how the food that we eat, the air that we breathe, the water that we drink can all kind of are very telling in how the expression of our genes will be. So if we're eating clean food, it can help promote the clean expression of our gene. But if we're in a really toxic environment with a lot of processed foods or just not clean water, it can promote the dirty expression of our genes. So I just wanted, for our family, for our community, we wanted to grow the cleanest food possible.
Okay, now you play an important role here. Not only are you the mother, homeschooler of 3 beautiful children, but you're the partner beside Jason. So give me a little rundown of how you see this farm.
Well, it's a lot of work, a lot of labor, a lot of planning for sure. We have to plan when the seeds are planted, plan when we're going to transplant, plan when we're going to harvest, wash and pack and all of that. And so my role is I do a lot of the labor with Jason. He's the planner. He plans everything. And I love physical work. So I'm out here in the fields working with the kids, and I do the customer service. So I'm social media, and then I get to do the fun things too. I get to get creative with flowers and like other things that would go great on salads.
So we put a TER in there. He's the plan and you're the planter.
Yes.
Exactly. So these are head lettuce.
Yes. This crop right here will be harvested. Today is Monday, so these 3 beds that we are looking at right now will be harvested for Wednesday's salad mix.
And when you harvest it, you cut it.
I cut it. 4 rows cut completely to about 2 inches off the mat.
Okay. Well, now then, Sarah, you've got a part in that process too, don't you?
Yes. So I help in the pack house, but also with our online farmers market. I just share with people that the online market is open for ordering, and so we do our home deliveries. People can place their orders online, and we deliver to their doorstep. Or if they're outside of our delivery zone, then they can do a farm pickup.
It's obvious you've got an edge on a market that's not used. So I wish you much success with this. And it's obvious that when the sun goes down at 8 o'clock, are you ready for going to bed, or do you still have work to do?
Lots of work. It never stops. It never stops. It seems like, as we are talking about using tools and techniques to simplify the processes, we're still refining, and I think we're always going to be refining.
Of course.
And it's just tweaking and getting all our systems in place so we can spend more time with our family, and that's the main goal. That's when people are like, what's your farm's main goal? To be sustainable, to be
Exactly.
family orientated.
Exactly. And
So-
you are achieving that. And I'll tell you, this was not what I thought I was going to find at the end of this country road. And what a blessing it has been to share time with you and your family here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For inspiring garden tours, growing tips, and garden projects, visit our website at volunteergardener.org or on YouTube at the Volunteer Gardener channel, and like us on Facebook.